ticking all the boxes this weekend. Drove into one person, drove over him, binned another guy. The aim is to make as many moves as possible happen. Yeah, at all costs.
Okay, fair enough.
Last time you joined us, we were at Whilton Mill and Whilton Mill, putting in the laps for 2022 and actually finding quite a bit more pace than usual. Starting to take things a little bit more seriously as we announced our plans to do the Ultimate Karting Championship in 2022 with the opening round at Whilton Mill just after the club race the week before. Lovely brand new race bodywork has been officially christened over my foot. Nice. So as some of you may be new to the channel with this new series, here's a quick rundown. So I started high karting in 2015, full tuck from day one, and with little to moderate to no success, I decided the best course of action was to have a go in a senior road tax around Bayford Meadows, buy my own kart, plod around a bit, sticker it up with a smiley face livery, and drive around like a twat. And despite this, our first race in late 2017 wasn't actually too bad given our inexperience, running as high as P5 in a grid of 10 to 11 karts. Held my own quite nicely until my teammate threw his toys out the pram. But the 2018 season was horrendous. With a hideously underpowered Prevo engine, the only way we could go about racing was to send it at every corner, which didn't always work. So we decided to buy another car. We are still slow, but not actually slow. Which, believe it or not, was actually worse, and we had even more reliability issues.
You know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a nice relaxing break. Oh, it's 83 degrees.
Highlight of the year had to be an engine failure at Lyd. We drove to Bayford on the Saturday night to pick up a worse engine, and then had to send it in the races. 2019 we switched up to St Motorsport, rocked up to the first test in a Comcart tape liveried kart for reasons known best to myself. Annoyed a few of the front runners in the early races. Here I was actually introduced to Luke, got driven over.
The rad is f***ed. The power valve is f***ed. And the grand finale, the exhaust, is f***ed. My arm is also completely f***ed. Can I just drive this?
So it was 2019 where we finally started to splash the cash a little bit with a new Comcart chassis and a new motor, and lo and behold we're about a second a lap quicker than we were before. I even got my best finish in one of the heats with P6 the day after writing my car off, which was rather grand. 2020 obviously hit by COVID, but Luke was back with us. We switched to GMS, didn't get an awful lot of running, but our pace was starting to improve. Even had a stab at some of the bigger events with moderate to little to... Yeah, actually, let's not talk about London Cup. 2021 didn't get as much running as we'd like, also due to COVID, but there were some promising signs of improvement, especially in the Super 1 series, some club rounds around Whilton Mill. But in 2022, we really want to go out and go around the country, so we're embarking on the Ultimate Karting Championship, 6 rounds all around the country, throwing ourselves into the deep end at national level. What could possibly go wrong, right? This is it then, round 1, Whilton Mill for the Ultimate Karting Championship, and our first national championship, if you exclude the guest round we did at Super 1 last year. But you're actually going to join us here on day 2 on the Saturday, another 3-day race weekend. Yeah, didn't actually film anything on the Friday because it was, pretty pointless. It was much like every other test day I've already shown you at Whilton. Rain didn't start, pretty meh track conditions. Not a great deal happened, but yeah, we have actually got some sort of semi-dry running now as we head out to the track. Can see some spots of rain on the camera. Track conditions are not optimal. It is actually starting to rain just a tad as we go into this session, and yeah, this session really is a welcome to the UKC for those who aren't aware. Absolutely just a frenzy of karts. We had about 40 plus karts in this session because it was split between evens and odds, and with 68 drivers, 68, we had about 40 or so of us in the odds split. But yeah, here we are, following the 53 into the boot. We're going to make any move happen on the brakes, and yeah, as you can see, it's starting to drizzle a little bit, so offline is particularly slippery. But what I'm looking to do here is we slam on the anchors down into Christmas. We're just looking to try and build on what we did last weekend at the club round, as we get completely harpooned there. But yeah, what I really wanted to do is carry on the really decent pace we had last time. I was really confident with the car and the brakes, and just going for moves and carrying good corner speed, and that's exactly what I want to do here. Even in these slightly suboptimal, tricky conditions, we're still sending it hard and trying to stay as smooth as we were last week as well. So yeah, just taking you through a lap, slamming on the brakes into Christmas. We really close up on the car front there. Through the S's, keeping it pinned, use the exit curb just a little bit, hard on the brakes, late turn into Ashby's downhill hairpin, use all the track on the exit, short stab on the brakes, hold it tight through the left. Long corner here. Actually get a really good exit, late on the brakes into the boot. Actually have to hold back a little bit because we're already caught up to the car in front in the space of about 2 sectors. Missed the apex a little bit there to the last corner, but still a reasonable lap as Freya Belt goes in on Nicole Sutherland, and we're going to go in on Nicole Sutherland through here. I think that is, anyway. Late on the brakes again. But yeah, that was the first session. I was actually quite annoyed with myself because the times weren't particularly quick, but we had decent pace. Yeah, here we go. As you can see Sasha there adjusting our hubs, which can only mean one thing: it's pissing it down as we go to the grid again, which is becoming a bit of a theme, especially around this time of year. But literally every single time we went to the grid on this day, it started spitting with rain. Sasha enjoying himself there, thanks to him for his assistance. But yeah, we're going to plonk it down on the grid, and actually you can see the rain has now stopped. So we were starting to doubt ourselves. The juniors went out before us on slicks, and it started raining, and they were all falling off the track and all crashing, so we thought, right, bolt on the wets, and then it started drying up again. So yeah, tough call. There's yeah, someone on the grid with new wets. Stonks. A few issues with the Bendex there. But we are away on wet tyres, and immediately I feel like I've got good grip, and I'm just thinking, oh, these are going to grain up almost instantly. The track is too dry for this. Yeah, starting to think, oh, this is going to be another pointless practice session where we only get 3 laps. But we're going to make any move happen, or make hay while the sun shines. Going in on the mad croc there, sending it into the boot, and it's already a traffic jam full of some people on slick, some people on wet. But now as you start to see cutting forward to like maybe a lap or 2 later, and there's rain spots on the camera again, and lo and behold, our decision actually worked, as there's carts left, right and centre. Coming into the boot again is like the last lap of a B final. Everyone just trying to punt each other out of the way. We actually bump our teammate Louis Weaver, actually give him a little bit of a boost there, helping him through the crowd as we go for another move into the final corner. 3 to 5 business days away from the apex. But yeah, tucked up behind Sam Light in the KR Alonso. And yeah, there are quite a few people having some mishaps on slicks. Lucas Ellingham there, not having the best of days. He's on slick tyres, obviously, and he's going to try and squeeze us, but we're going to make any move happen, and no way, Jose. Send him into next week. Catching up to the Project 1 carts here, usually front runners, and yeah, they're clearly going to be on slicks. That's Ryan Willis in front. And that's by Ryan Willis. Brandon Klein anal wart just in front of us, and we're going to make any move happen on him, lick the stamp and send it. And that was quite a fun session, even though we couldn't really learn a lot.
Tyres switched on, max maximum, send it, John.
That's it.
Send.
Right. No. Need a bit more enthusiasm than that. Chat shit.
Get sent.
That's it. There we go. Let's go, boys. So this is it. All these months of preparation, and we are going out for Heat 1 of the UKC in 2022. Now you're probably wondering, why are you so far up the grid, Will? Well, we actually do the old school front, middle and back heats for the UKC, which is something I really love. Some proper racing, mixing it up with some of the fast boys, none of this qualifying engines and qualifying sims and set up practice bollocks. This is just proper racing. So for our first heat, we're actually thrown into the deep end, and it's our front start, and we're going to be starting P7 as that rather brave Marshall nearly gets absolutely decked. But yeah, we've got to scrub in our brand new slick tyres on the outlap, and normally you want a lap or so at 60% to sort of get them in. But yeah, we haven't really got time for that, because we've got half a lap, 3/4 of a lap, and yeah, full focus now on the start. Had a few crappy starts last time I was here, Whilton Mill. We've got to be on it here, and it's lights out, away we go. And we are actually on the left hand side, which is a bit of a disadvantage, but we make it work, cutting ourselves into that little gap, holding it tight, lining it down to Christmas. Tommy Edmonds in front, he's going to actually leave a little bit of a gap, so we're going to go right into that. Ben Doughty says thank you very much and gets the switch back on both of us, but it's a good start. We've actually made up some ground, going semi-defensive now into Ashby's. But yeah, now we just need to settle in and not lose touch with these front guys. We're actually going to go semi-defensive onto the brakes in here. Got a couple of quick guys behind us. Yeah, invariably we're going to get some of these much faster cars coming through. And the Argenti of Sam Hawthorne goes through as well. He was right at the front of the club round. So I know at this point I'm not actually too worried, because I know that these guys in front are proper quick. So if I can tag on to them, learn a few bits and just stay in their slipstream or pick up a few things just from lines or braking points, I've got a good reference. And actually make a bit of a half mistake there, trying to follow through on that move that Sam made. And yeah, that's put Tommy Edmonds right back on our tail. Still, it's not the end of the world though, because there's actually quite a decent gap behind Tommy. And getting the tyres switched on this quickly is going to be a proper task. Now, I think I was overdriving it a little bit at this point. Team was saying I need to really switch the tyres on a little bit better, because through the boot I'm struggling. I'm all over the shop through here. Couple of edgy first couple of laps, and we're already losing touch a little bit with the pack in front. Make some ground up again through the last corner. Tommy coming in pretty hot into turn 2, but as you can see we actually had a better run overall. Now on the run down up to Christmas, Constantine is up on the brakes. Not too concerned at this point, just trying to keep my cool. Tommy's now got a really good run, he's going to go down the inside. We actually made a bit of a mistake there, couldn't quite keep it pinned. Bump him on the exit, and now we're going to just try to tuck up behind him and just see if he can pull us up to the guys in front with the GCR car. But yeah, making a couple of mistakes in places, these two corners in particular. Brandon now right behind us, and he's been one of the fastest around here in the last couple of weeks. Right up at the front of the club round and right up at the front here as well. He's going to go for a pretty rude boy manoeuvre, and fair play to him, but that's going to really set us on the back foot now, because obviously you want that momentum coming up this hill. Might not look like it, but actually Christmas is quite uphill braking zone. That's why you can brake so late, as now we're going to get absolutely mugged by two of the best drivers in the country. There goes Caden McQueen, you might remember. He absolutely dominated the club round last week. He won one of the heats from the back. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know. But Brandon Klein Ainlewart is going to find himself in the kitty litter. And we've now got two rapid drivers behind us. We've got Lorenzo Cordell and Jamie Perrelli, both very, very high-ranking drivers, well-respected, running at the front of their classes in senior Rotax. So yeah, Jamie's going to follow through, and I'm not even going to try and fight it. I want to tag along with these guys because I know that my race is not with them. I don't quite have the pace, even when I'm getting a clean lap in. But it's not to panic yet. Now that that initial gaggle of quick boys has gone through, there's actually a little bit of a gap now. So, although it might look like, Will, you're going backwards pretty quickly, this is much better than I anticipated. I knew that coming into this championship there are a lot of front-running drivers who are out testing every weekend. Yeah, probably do double the amount of races I do in a year, every year. And yeah, so I'm not too worried at this point. Now the tyres start to come in, now I'm settled down. I'm much calmer than I would be in this situation maybe 12 months ago, purely because I'm in the kart a lot more now. And look, now these two are squabbling, and that's all you need to bring yourself back into the fight. We're now a few kart lengths behind Jamie Perrelli, which is not a bad place to be. He's actually going to sneak through there on this car. I think that's... But yeah, we couldn't quite make it work into the last corner, so we're going to try and get a really sweet run through Crook and Oblivion. Two very fast corners. Track is absolutely rapid given the rain we had earlier, but we make any move happen down the inside into Christmas. Job done. Make sure he doesn't get a chance to respond into Ashby. So I think we absolutely balls up the hairpin for good measure, but no, not too bad. And we're going to try and move forward now. Try and stick with these boys. Tommy Edmonds now. We've closed right back into him as Perrelli and Cordell have made their way through on him. Now our tyres have come up and we're driving properly, we can start to suss out where he's weak and where we're stronger. Through Crook and Oblivion, it's a decent run. But at this point we're into the 44s, which is something I've only done once on dead tyres, and I went from doing 45s in the morning when the track was iffy to a 44.4, which I think was like probably one of the fastest laps of last weekend, like ever, in the club round. So yeah, the track is quick. There's a lot of karts obviously with this being a national championship, but that is still unheard of for me. And the fact that I'm actually quite comfortable as well, I'm not getting too stressed, this is really good. And we're actually making up ground through the second part of the double right and into the boot now on Tommy Evans. He's clawing the ever so slightly with that last corner. Fairly even on this occasion through the first section. Trying to stay with him. Much more confident on the brakes than I have been previously. Makes a little bit of time through the S's. But yeah, cutting forward now onto the last lap. Caden McQueen in trouble. We're actually going to get past him and another car. It's all kicking off into this last lap, and I can see in the boot they're all defending, thinking, oh no, please don't pin me on the last lap. Perrelli and Cordell are going to, so Doughty are going to come to blows. And through the last corner, we're actually going to hang on, and yeah, I think that was maybe between P5 and P7 on the road. But with penalties applied, that's P4. You know, our first heat in the UKC. But wow, a PB as well. And yeah, a dream start here in the UKC. So cutting forward to our second heat on the Saturday, our second heat of 3. This is actually our middle start. So we're starting, although it's not quite the middle, I think it's something like, I want to say about 15th. I can't remember actually, because I go to check the results website and it's broken because they had all sorts of transponder issues. So I can't actually remember, and nor do I care, and you'll see why. As it's starting to rain again, we're on slicks, and the team were telling me how I need to get better at warming up the tyres, and that's definitely not how you're going to do it on the out lap of the second heat. So looking like a complete wally going from 0 to 0. We're going to try and find our original position on the formation lap. As you can see, everyone's warming to get temperature in their tyres, and we can't find a way through. And this is where I'm very lucky, because we actually had a false start there. But yeah, now it's proper treacherous. trying to pick your way back to your original starting position is bad enough in the dry on cold tyres, let alone when it's now raining. We absolutely binned the MLC kart there, and by the end of the lap I wasn't quite in my original position, but I was close enough. And to be honest, in this kind of a race it doesn't really matter anyway, because as you come to turn 1 there's people already all over the show. Our teammate Louis Weaver is going to take up a lawn care solutions business, and he's going to get sent to the grass. We're actually going to play it safe and go for the inside. I thought about going for the outside, because you can make any move happen around there, but it is very slippery, especially when you're on slicks. So after the antics on the formation lap, just trying to play it safe. It's pathetically slow through this S's section that's normally flat out, and you can see as I zoom right out there's actually a yellow flag at this post, and we get overtaken under yellow flags. So the hand of rage makes an appearance, and then we get a rude hip check from I think that was Casper Scusa, I can't tell because yeah. But yeah, we're going to hold it tight through here, just get all over the curb, try get our own back, and we don't quite. But yeah, it is absolute carnage, and I love slicks in the wet from the hire kart days. Someone goes for a spin actually in the boot, so we're going to have to take to the grass to avoid that. Sam Hawthorne back on our tails again. We're going to go make any move happen into the last corner, try and get to the curb, but couldn't quite pull it down enough. And now having to get out of it slightly there so we don't make contact with the KR. Sam goes very, very wide there, pulls alongside us. Ben Doughty's going to try follow through as well. Now this is where I thought, sod it, everyone's going to go for the inside, let's do a Max Verstappen and find the grip where everyone else is too scared to go. And we actually made it work for about 2.5 seconds till we get put in the mud again, and we lose about 4 or 5 places after making up 2 or 3. So that just shows you how savage the racing is in karting. It's brilliant. This is what I love about the UKC. As much as I've just been absolutely shafted there, it's great. It's close racing. This is what you want, and especially in these conditions it's a lot of fun as we go make any move happen on the brakes, jumping all over this curb which normally you don't want to touch, but I was just finding it was hooking me onto the corner so much nicer. And coming into the boot now, he's going to try brake on the racing line, which is very brave of him, and yeah, I could kind of see that coming. And I was like, yeah, you go there, you try that. That's absolutely fine, mate, go for it. And we're going to try and pull it down to the inside on the 53, I think that is, yes it is. Coming into the first corner, and our race has unravelled a little bit there. We've actually got a nose cone penalty because he braked very, very sharply rather than roll the speed through the corner. That was pretty frustrating. That's an automatic 5-second penalty, and he actually braked very early for Christmas as well while looking over his shoulder, so don't know if he's got an issue or if he's just being a bit sus, or Lord knows. But yeah, we're going to try and move forward now, cutting on to a bit later as we absolutely balls up the hairpin, and he's actually going to get back through, which is pretty frustrating. So never mind, just jump all over the curb, make any move happen. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and yeah, soldier on. So this race pretty difficult now. I'm actually, I think, leading a train at this point, and in these sort of conditions what you really want is a reference, particularly a good one, because in front of me I can see that I'm catching this train at a rate of knots. So I'm thinking, oh, I must be sussing out the lines quite well. And then one person comes through, 2 people come through, 3 people who've all been going flat out everywhere or taking more speed into the corners. So it's really handy to have a marker in these sort of situations, so you can sort of gauge the conditions and how hard you can go into the corners. As Sam Hawthorne finds his way back through, one of the front runners. So if we could try and latch onto him, that'd be great. But yeah, I'm still taking a mismatch of lines at this point. As we're coming into the last few laps, I think it was about 2 or 3 laps from the end, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, the track went from being really slippery one lap ago to being virtually bone dry the next. It was so strange. I was trying to experiment with my lines and try out different things, and I'd be sliding around and thinking, no, it's not working. And then the next lap I'd try it and the track would be bone dry. And obviously there's a lot of karts going around, but we've just caught this pack in about a second a lap, and it's the final lap now. So you know what that means. We're going to try and make any move happen because we've got such a run. And I should have just braked at where I normally do in the dry, because I might have actually made that happen. I've already got a nose cone penalty anyway, so I should have just roofed the gentleman. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not quite the result we wanted. We had really good pace in the end, and we're in the mix, but just...
full-on brake test on the start finish. Absolutely brake test.
Checking out my bum. But yeah, and the annoying thing is, the guy in front actually got a nose cone penalty as well. So I would have been fine if I just roofed him, assuming we both lived to tell the tale. But yeah, that's racing. Hasbulla was proud, at least, in the KKC shop.
Oh no, he's made a mess.
Race day number 1 done. Cheeky kebab and a pint in the hotel bar. And all to play for the next day. So now on Sunday we have our 3rd heat, and our points from that calculate whether we go straight to the main final. But yeah, the fuel station, the nominated fuel station, we have to use fuel from a certain garage. And
So we're all
yeah,
getting disqualified, boys.
it was all out. It was all out of the super unloaded, the premium E05 stuff that we're meant to use for the race. So that was an optimal start to the day. But yeah, as you can see, we get to the grid again, and yeah, it's wet. It wasn't meant to rain.
You good?
But yeah, a last minute panic, because we only have a couple minutes. You might be able to hear some of the announcers shouting to get on the grid and get down. And it only started raining when we were in the assembly area. As we find the ratchet on the floor tray again. Flashbacks to the last episode in testing. But here we go. This is our back start. And it's wet now. It was a bit of a rush. We didn't actually get to change all the setup. So we had wets on. We had the width and all that and the pressures and what have you. A bit of caster as well. But critically, we didn't get time to change the gearing. So in these conditions, you change the engine sprocket on the front and add a couple of teeth on the back, at least, just to help you get off the corner. And we ran out of time to do that, as I think a few others did, which means the car will probably handle okay if we can keep the corner speed up. But traction at the slow stuff, especially on the start, was pretty suboptimal to say the least. But we're underway then for heat number 3. Over the curb here, trying to hold it tight. 360 camera in action now as we head up towards Christmas. Yeah, just trying to keep it somewhat clean through here. So easy to get a nose cone. This section is flat out in the dry and it's pretty cumbersome in the wet on the first lap. Trying to hold it tight, pin it down. Don't quite get a nose cone on that. Missed the curb slightly. And yeah, just look at the traction we're suffering through here. No matter how early I get on the power, it's very difficult, as we're going to make any move happen. Double overtake into this second part of the double left, all over the curb. Lovely little move. I'm pretty chuffed with that, even though we don't have quite the traction to make it completely stick. And into the last corner of the last lap, we get roofed as we don't pin it down to the curb, shoved off the circuit. But hey, that's fair game. This is the UKC. We're going for another move, and the Madcock actually loses it on his own, and that's pretty unfortunate because we've now lost about 6 places getting back up to speed. Tweaked the thumb a bit as well, which was quite comfortable. But yeah, that's just a perfect example of wrong place at the wrong time, and that sums up most of our races in Rotax actually. We're always getting caught up in someone else's crash. I didn't really have any time to react there, just really unfortunate. Obviously wasn't intentional. He just lost it on his own out the last corner, quite late on as well, and that's really cost us. It's put us back about 6 or so places, and what was an okay race in an okay start has now turned into a bit of a nightmare, as we've got to try and pick our way through these slower karts or other karts with no traction. So we can get the kart down to the apex, we can get it turned, and it's handling nice, and we can brake late. But the problem is, as soon as we go for that move and we go into the part of the track where, you know, we bogged down a bit, you immediately just lose it again, and we didn't actually make it past Daniel Hughes there. So we're going to try our signature around the outside. 2 trailer park girls going around the outside into Christmas corner, and pretty sketchy, obviously breaking on the racing line where all the rubber is. Very, very slippery, but we make any move happen. And now we fancy a little nibble at Daniel Hughes. Actually, that sounds quite wrong, but into Ashby's. We think we've got it done. We feel like a right hero. We've done 3 people in the space of 2 corners. because we're absolute legends. We're factory, and we've just pissed all over that. Actually, we've made a mockery. Sounding quite excited through there, actually. Pitting it down to the apex through here, thinking I've got the job done. Don't have the traction to fight the Alonso car, but then hey, he actually has a bit of a wobble through there, so we're gonna send it through. And this is just how much more confidence we have on the brakes. We're not braking particularly late there, actually. It's probably one of my more cautious laps. And we get another nose cone going into the back of Daniel Hughes, who decides to brake 3 to 5 business days before the corner, which was not optimal, but we're gonna just make any move happen now. Got nothing to lose. We've got a pack of carts in front of us. We don't have to worry about being clean, really, because we've got nose cone already, so just bin them. We've done one already. We're going to experiment with a wide line, because I actually used that at Super 1 last year and used that line to make 3 or 4 overtakes on this straight, but it hasn't really worked out on this occasion. I think it's definitely better to stay in tight like we were before. But nevertheless, we've caught up to them into the boot. Can we go for a little manoeuvre on Harrison Crook into the last corner? Not quite. Trying to carry some more speed into the corner. Braked a bit too late and yeah, got on the painted white line. And we're now on to the final lap. So we have to redo all that work. All that work. It's just painful at this point. But yeah. Over the curb. Didn't quite hook it up on that occasion. But you can see just how much we've gained through the first part of the lap alone. And they're all going to squabble into the boot. So I'm sort of feasting my eyes on this opportunity. Actually trying to pin it down. Could have tried to get past Daniel Hughes while I was at it. Missed that corner just a bit. You've really got to hook the car on the curb completely to get round the wet. But now they're squabbling into the boot. We fancy an opportunity. And can we go for a little boot move? Not quite enough room on the inside there. Can we pick up the traction? With this gearing, absolutely not. I'm going to go for a little move into the last corner of Daniel Hughes. We should have run him off a bit more in hindsight. And we don't quite have the traction to hang on, unfortunately. Yep, my helmet has a few admirers. The message on the back. Carol getting a nice shot at that. Thanks for that, by the way. One for my basket. But yeah, 3 heats done. And this is the pre-final. So this determines who goes into the super final, which is the top 34 of 68. So it's not quite a B final. There's a couple of pre-finals. And yeah, because there's that many carts. And the points from that determine who goes through. And our goal was to get into that super final. We've got a shot, but we get underway and there's already a cart who's oiled up or got a problem with to dodge. But yeah, it's proper wet again. And anything can happen in these conditions. One of our teammates, Ben Below, unfortunately broke down in the other pre-final. So there's a lot of quick people who are having issues. And it's this sort of day where we can really make a difference. As Sam Light actually goes past us on the Alonso there. And me and Sam have been battling pretty much all weekend long under the Whilton Club Round. But we're going to make any move happen into the boot. Getting our elbows out nicely. Don't quite pull it off though. He's just about got enough grip to hang on. But we've really got to be a bit more robust and get through these carts after some suboptimal heat results. Well, the second and third. We had good pace, but we just couldn't really translate it into a good result. Hooking up the curb nicely through here. We seem to be all over Sam through this section. And we're going to go for the move on the inside, actually make contact there. I don't think that actually incurred a nose cone, which was quite lucky. Wasn't intentional either, but hey, make any move happen at all cost. And now I'm thinking, right, I can just get some good laps in, got some clear space in front, and he comes straight back at us out of nowhere. He wasn't that good on the brakes on the previous lap, and all of a sudden he manages to turn it around just when he's behind us. Great. But yeah, visibility, as you can see, is pretty poor from this visor camera. It's those sort of conditions where you're driving on a winter's day and it just smears over your windscreen. It's not nice. But yeah, trying to pull it down into the hairpin of Ashby's. Is he going to leave a gap for us on the inside? He's actually holding it tight now. He's wise to it. What about into one of our favourite overtaking spots? He does go semi-defensive here as well, pulling it down to the apex, a bit sideways on exit, but we still managed to pick up good traction. But again, he's just holding that slightly narrower line, positioning his car just where it needs to be to hold us off, and we get a bit sideways on the exit, which is a shame because we hooked up that curb nicely. Still going to go for the move into the last corner, and you guessed it, Sam's going to come straight back at us, give us a little chop into as he turns into the first corner. As frustrating as this was, watching it back, this was a fantastic battle, and he's actually got a slightly better run now into Christmas. We can't go for the move here on the inside at least, but what we can do is go into the S's, get our elbows out all over the curb, and we've made it through, or at least for now. But yeah, this was really good fair racing through here, giving each other plenty of space. But it does mean Sam's able to go for the cutback. A little bit of contact into the braking zone. Can we try and get the cutback in return on him? The outside sometimes has a bit more grip, as we found at Super 1. But yeah, we have to go slightly defensive and actually make a critical error there. Got a bit sidetracked by the car behind us, tapping me in the side. And that just distracted me, and I started driving like a tit basically, and just harpooned Sam and got myself a nose cone penalty again. So now we really have to get on with it. We feel like we've got a bit more pace at this stage, so we're going to send it, get past him into the boot. That's perfect, or so I thought, until I missed the curb, and then Sam's able to get back past us. And then not only that, but the car behind's also going to follow through, and we're going to take to the rumble strip, trying to get back on the next lap. And this is really frustrating because coming into this weekend, my goal was to make it into the super final. That was like my ultimate goal. I knew that was probably quite unrealistic given the amount of people coming in to this race and the level of driving standards and the quality of drivers, so I didn't expect it. But actually, with all the carnage that went on and some okay pace, we actually had a shot at making it into the super final. And I believe that the guy with the yellow fluorescent helmet might have made it in. I was literally a couple of places either side of making it. And these mistakes are actually costing us. I don't tend to make stupid mistakes, well, not to this extent anyway. And we're really wasting a lot of time with Sam here. So we're going to go back up the inside into Ashby's again. Again, he's just going to, the way it works with wet lines. We actually think we've got it done there. Managed to get the traction out of the hairpin. And as we come into one of our favourite corners, he's back up the inside of us. And yeah, I'm not too happy at this point. As much as the battle is a lot of fun, I can see the chance of a super final start slipping away. The televised race, the big one that we all want to be in, with some of the best drivers in the country, that would be a small miracle for us. But yeah, we're trying to still battling away with Sam now in this race, and we're right on him coming to Christmas. We should have a move here, but he actually brakes a bit later than normal, so we're going to try and get him back into the second part of the double left. And I feel like I almost had it done. Couldn't quite get the traction. As you see, what you want to do at this point is try to get a block pass, pin it down to the apex, pinned it down to the white line, but then you struggle for traction obviously with the suboptimal line. Can we get him back into the boot? Not quite, and this is where the weekend just got a whole lot worse. You can see the yellow flags are out. I think about going for a move, realise there's a yellow. Yeah, I tried to back out the move when I saw the yellow halfway through, and in hindsight I should have just gone for the move anyway and then let him back after, because if you put a bit more brake pressure on in the wet, you lock the wheels, snatch a brake and half spin, and yeah, just getting really frustrated now, going for desperate moves that I really shouldn't do. So tried to calm myself down a bit, and yeah, just kept making mistakes. Maybe the tyre pressures were starting to go off towards the end, but a bit of overdriving, and it's a real shame actually, because that was a bit of a sour note to finish a really fun weekend. It was a great battle with Sam though, don't get me wrong, as I go to prank my old SAIC colleagues. But yeah, it was a bit of a shame really, because I mean, it would have been a bit of an ask to get into the super final anyway, but we were so close yet so far, and some quick people had a really bad day and some misfortune, so we could have capitalised on that. But it's all learning and it's all progress for the future. And my teammate Louis Weaver actually made it through to the super final. I think he finished about 13th in the end, so congrats to him, because that was a really solid drive. But yeah, overall, actually still quite happy with my first national race weekend at Whilton Mill. Some really fun battles, some great moves, and yeah, really grateful to everyone at GMS and Luke on the spanners. Our next race is going to be Warden Law, back up in Sunderland this time. It'll be the UKC, so we're doing the warm-up round, the race the week before, and then we are back up there for the UKC the week after, so you don't want to miss that episode. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel and the videos, and yeah, hopefully I will see you all again very soon. Cheers.